Inuyasha was an amazing series that took viewers to a magical world of Feudal Japan. Most of the series were perfect, but not everything made sense. Artist and writer Miriko Takatashi had also had a starred career with amazing hits including Ramea Half, Rainy, Masen Kikyo, Uchiha Yasuo, and of course Inuyasha. Her ability to weave interesting story through the lives of more characters and the creators of The Simpsons could imagine have made her one of the most well-known and beloved characters of anime and manga throughout the planet. While she is amazingly talented at creating characters, not everything about the world she creates just translates perfectly when it comes to time and you animate them. Inuyasha's story was told over the course of 193 episodes across 2 series, 1 OVA and 4 full-length films. With so many episodes, certain aspects of the story and some of the character traits are bound to lose in clarity. While most of this is easy to follow and fun to watch, there were a few aspects of the story that didn't make much sense. Granted, if you put a magnifying glass up to any show about demons, magical artifacts and time travel, you are bound to find a few flaws. That being said, there were a few things of Inuyasha that just don't look a lot of sense when you get down to it. We found 10 that defy explanation and found more than a few fans scratching their heads in disbelief. This article covers aspects of the anime that are a little wonky without going into manga. With that, we'll give you 10 things of Inuyasha that makes no sense. Before we start, if you guys find this video interesting, please let us know smash the like button, and if you enjoy the contents of our video playlist and want to see more, please subscribe and don't forget the notification bell for latest updates. Number 10. Kokume's family disinterest in her safety. When the series began, Kokume had just turned 15 and was living with her family's Shinto shrine alongside her little brother, grandfather and mother. She quickly found herself embroiled in the events of the series back in Feudal Japan, which seems like a rather risky affair. While she would come and go as she pleased back and forth through the world, her mother and grandfather barely attended her eye. In any normal family, it is highly unlikely that a 50-year-old girl would have the freedom to go off and fight demons through a magical world in the past. However, her grandfather and mother showed little to no interest in her safety. They knew that she was doing and just let her be. Number 9. Waikaki can transport people through the world. The series quickly established who and what could travel through the Bone Eater's world on Kokume's grounds, but that list was limited. Kokume could make her way through to the past and back, but that was mostly in terms of people. When it comes to animate objects, she could take whatever she liked. There was never a reasonable explanation to give us why this was the case. Waikaki could transport things like a bicycle and schoolwork but not another person. Well, this obviously default type meant to limit who and what could make their way through the world. It has instead of discrepancy with an explanation. The world should have worked to allow more people with demons to make their way through, but that simply wasn't the case. Number 8. What happened to all the demons? When Kokume first travelled through the world, she found herself within a world very unlike the one she just left. The land was rife with magic and demons, which remained the setting for a series. She even teamed up with a half-demon and battled many throughout her time in Feudal Japan. With so many demons just out and running out, it seems strange that there aren't any modern-day demons in Japan. So what happened to them? On the surface, it seems Takashi was meant to separate the time periods into different worlds, and while that makes sense for storytelling purposes, it doesn't make much logical sense. They didn't destroy all the demons in the past, so there really should be more demons in the 1st century. Number 7. The sudden disappearance of magic. Similarly, magic seems to have lost its overall effectiveness and barely has a presence when it comes to the modern world. In the past, Miriko demonstrated a number of spiritual abilities with his spells, but those abilities seem to be only available to people in the past. In the present, Kokume's grandfather has his various charms, but they don't live at the same level of effectiveness as someone like Miriko in Feudal Japan. There isn't an explanation given as for why magic no longer exists in the modern world, but it could that people like Kokume's grandfather simply lack the skill and ability to use properly. Whatever the reason is, it seems that there should be much more magic available in the present than there was in the past. Number 6. How did Mikio immediately know how to ride a bicycle? This one may fall into the nitpicky category, but for anyone who's struggling to learn to ride a bike, it is a bit odd to see someone like Miriko hop onto one and ride it with little to no problems. While most people learn to ride as children, even adults find it difficult to learn to ride a bike if they skip their lessons in childhood. Knowing that, it doesn't make sense that a person who's a born and raised in Feudal Japan could pick up a bicycle and ride it, about as if it was second nature to him. Granted, Miriko possessed many skills and abilities, but the fact that he could ride a bike without any trouble doesn't make much sense when you think about it for more than a few seconds. Number 5. Kokume never changed clothes. Kokume was a 15-year-old junior high school student, and we all knew this because she wore her uniform constantly. In ways, there is a costume which identified the character, but it really didn't make much sense. The uniform is highly practical when it comes to traversing the dangers of Feudal Japan while hunting down shards and battling demons. Why didn't she simply change into something more practical? She had more than enough time and she had plenty of opportunities to throw on some pants and clothes that made sense. but she rarely changed out of her uniform. Perhaps she liked wearing it, but whatever her reasoning, it doesn't make a whole lot of reason to chase around Feudal Japan in a short skirt. Number 4. What happened to all the monsters? Demons were the only creatures present throughout Feudal Japan who seem to have vanished by the present era. The many monsters or yokai that roamed around the landscape throughout Feudal Japan are gone and mostly forgotten in the present. There was never any sort of explanation given for the disappearance of yokai, which only a couple of sections. The Noah, Mars, and Salt Piper were still about, but they were lost or hidden a long time, so they were likely missed by whatever catastrophe befell the monsters of all Japan. Like the demons, they may have been separated from modern time to differentiate between the two worlds, but the series could have modern Europeans as time advanced. Unfortunately, no explanation was given, so we just don't know. Number 3. The Fox Demon exam was pointless. At one point in the series, we introduced to the Fox Demon exam, but the whole event it seems rather pointless, only served as a distraction or side story that probably could have been left out in the series altogether. The exam is introduced when Inuyasha and his team hole up in an inn without knowing it's an exam. Shipboy ends up in a position with a good grade and could be earned by getting revenge on Inuyasha, but that doesn't seem to be much of a point to the whole thing. Was the Fox Demon exam necessary for getting promoted or to grow more tails? Other than that, there doesn't seem to be much of a point to it, rather than being another side story that the series have done without. Number 2. Inuyashashishmans scrolls. Inuyashashishmans scrolls weapons are some of the most devastating and useful weapons, but they don't make a lot of sense. When you think about it, these guys are dog demons, which means their claws should be similar to those of dogs. Dogs don't use those claws as weapons, their claws are used to help in digging to maintain traction when running at various surfaces. They are also not retractable like a cat, which begs the question, why would they use as if they're cat claws? Granted, they are deep and abilities that dogs wouldn't normally possess, but it seems strange that an actual claw weapon would be much more cat-like than dog-like given that they are dog demons. Number 1. The long wait between reincarnations. Earlier in this series, it established that Kokume is the reincarnation of Kikyo, which is why she had to travel to the Bone Eater's world and possess the Shinkanchu within her own body. This is one of those aspects in the series that is easily established, but it does beg the question, why is such a long period of time past between incarnations? Kikyo passed away back during the Feudal Japan period and likely would have reincarnated soon after her passing, but hundreds of years passed before Kokume was born. This was never really explained in the series, and there is no indication that others were born in the meantime. Given the long period of time that passed given between incarnations, it does make sense that there is something missing here. Inuyasha is a classic anime that was watched by many viewers when they were younger and loved by many, but now, as we are older and heard these themes, we actually question why Inuyasha did this. Did you know these things before watching this video? Which of these surprised you the most? Are there any other things that make no sense that we missed out on? Let us know down in the comments. If you want to give your family a surprise gift for any special occasion, you can always check our website and look for creative and adorable gifts. This has been Music Chess, your music Inuyasha fan, signing out.